Oh my God, we got to center ourselves. We were off center. Tim Moss and Wendy Stuart were off center.
But we know our lighting and centering. We got
right. But we're now centered. I feel so much better. Hi, everybody. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tim Moss.
Oh my God, and we're here together today.
We're
twinning today.
We are. We're twinsies.
What made you choose blue?
I don't know. It had no sleeves, and it was, we're having a heat wave here in New York.
We are having a heat wave here in New York, and no matter where you're listening, in whatever part of the country, people are having heat waves everywhere. A lot of my friends upstate lost power.
Yeah.
They have no power.
Well, the storms that blew through,
where it's just been crazy. So speaking of crazy, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I just, I'm coming off of like this crazy Christmas in July that we did on Sunday with the Imperial Court of New York. I did a parody that I wrote, the 10 Gays of Christmas, which Cavelli knows because he was there when we thought about doing it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to write this thing. So by the way, tell Michael Musto he was gay number 10.
Okay.
And the parody, but the 12 Gays of Christmas. But we raised money, of course, for Bailey House and Housing Works. We were packed. This was the biggest show that the Imperial Court has done, to my knowledge, to date. 27 performers.
Wow.
And they were all, everybody was on fire. We had a packed audience. We had a lot of nice eye candy on a Sunday in the summer, because you just assume they're all in Fire Island.
Right.
But never assume anything. So it was super fun. And oh my God, we are here at Pangea. I can't forget. I want to keep telling people.
Oh, right.
We have not only is our show done from here, but we have an incredible front lounge here. Every week I talk about, our amazing cabaret performers. Yeah. But I want to tell you all about the front lounge, and this is what makes it so cool. It's Wednesday through Sunday. It's 8:30 to 10:30. No cover.
Free.
It's free. All right, free. We all love that word, free. My God, we were talking about how expensive New York is.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can come by and hear really great entertainment in front.
Their lineup is just incredible.
The lineup is great. Sometimes it's acoustical, sometimes it's got words, but I can tell you it's consistently fabulous. You can get dinner, which is really cool, or just have a smart cocktail. Where did that saying smart cocktail
I
come
have
from?
no idea.
Have you ever met a stupid cocktail?
I don't know. I'm sure I have.
A stupid cocktail. So this Friday night, who we have here is going to be called Suspicious Candy, is the name of the group, and led by Francois Weiss. Is it Weiss?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. It's French. I don't do well with the English language. I really mess up the French language. And that's like crazy. So, Friday night, I'm going to be on Paul Manzi Radio. You were on that show.
Yes.
Yeah. What can fun. He's fun. What can I expect? I don't know anything about him.
Just talk.
Yeah. He's got some wild energy.
Yes, he does.
Right.
Yes, he does.
And he's got some very specific politics.
Yes.
So this should be fun. I should be on fire, right? I like talking about all kinds of different points of views. And so that's always great. So,
and then on Saturday, the 20th, I am going to be one of the hosts of Bronx Pride,
Yay!
Which is up in Crotona Park. It's from 12 until 7 o'clock at night. And we're also going to be celebrating Apollonia Cruz's 60th birthday, and I got a little special something for her.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, if you're in the Bronx or want to go to the Bronx, Crotona Park is the place to be in the amphitheater. It'll be a lot of fun.
It is fabulous, and Apollonia Cruz does so much for the community up there. She's another one that's nonstop.
Yep.
She never ever stops. So that'll be fun. I'll miss doing that with you.
Yes, I know.
You'll be in the 95-degree heat without me.
Right.
But Lady Clover Honey is one of the hosts, and then there's two other hosts.
Kelly Kaboom and Vanessa Beltre. Yeah.
Which should be fun. So are you excited about what you're doing tonight? The show that you're going to.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
She's going to a fabulous show tonight.
Yes,
and I know it's
And
fabulous.
she saw it last week.
I saw it.
I could not because I got pink eye.
Tim
I
had
hadn't had
eye.
pink eye since I was in the 5th grade. I don't know where that came
Tim
from.
had pink eye and he put it on Facebook. So I have friends that are like, why do people put their ailments on Facebook? Nobody said that about you to me, by the way. But there's Tim with his eyes as pink as can be. He thought they were sunburned. I took a look at that Facebook picture, and so did 65 other people, because we're all doctors on Facebook. And we all said the same thing. Girl, you've got pink eye. And you did, Blanche, didn't you?
I did.
But you're over it now, right?
Yes, I am.
Highly contagious, but Tim's over it. So he's excited about going to the Village tonight.
Yes, I'm going to see the Village.
I went to this amazing show, The Village, last week. I've got to tell you, whether you were from the day or you're living today, it is so beautifully choreographed, entertaining, dialogue, the cast, every aspect of it is perfect. It's one hell of an entertaining night where absolutely every moment worked. And you know what? I see a lot of theater in New York, and I see a lot of off-Broadway. This is an absolute perfect piece, and I highly encourage you to go there. It will be running until August 10th, and it's on Wednesday nights. It's also running in conjunction the following night with David's Friend, which is a different kind of piece as well, but just I was crying at the end of that. I saw that, I think 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago even. I tell you all of this. Why am I telling you all of this? Because we are thrilled today to have the hottest person this summer, and I mean it. She's everywhere. Actor, performer, archivist, comedian, writer. Can I say enough about her? Please welcome Nora Burns from The Village and David's Friends. Come on in.
Hi.
We got to get cozy here.
We're going to get cozy.
Okay.
Okay. Are we all in?
Yeah.
Nora,
Great.
how are you?
I'm good.
Oh my God.
Thank you for having me.
We're
Oh,
so, you know what? The fact that you were able to squeeze this in with your schedule, it's it's a lot.
Yeah, no, I don't do much. I have way too much free time. So yes.
It's very hard for me to imagine Nora Burns having free time. I keep abreast, of course, because I always see things of all the things that you do.
If you can just move over just
Yeah,
a hair.
and
There we
move
go.
over her hair. We
Perfect.
got all kinds of
There we
room.
go. Perfect.
From Candid Camera to your improv group.
Oh, not improv, but yes, sketch comedy.
Sketch comedy.
Unitard.
Yeah, which is called again?
Unitard.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. I had it before and it flew out of my mind.
know.
You see, Nora, this is why I have all these
Oh,
notes here.
absolutely.
But I've seen so much of what you did, and thank you for your contribution to the arts and for being you.
Well, thank you for being audiences.
Right.
Great audience.
Tim and I are
Yeah.
good audiences, and more than that, for carrying things forward from the late 70s into now. Not everybody can do that. It's like you give us a gift as an artist when you can do that. There's, as you know, a lot of people who aren't around anymore.
Right.
And there's people that are around that are, for lack of a better word, just fried from the day. It happens. But you've just managed to keep turning it out.
I mean, I don't want to just, talk about the past.
No,
I
talk about now.
You're right.
And
I mean,
you
I
can do it-
try to
yeah.
make my things not just like,
But they're not.
talk about the
And
past.
the
Yeah.
Village, so I haven't seen the David's Friend in a couple of years. You were
Right.
at the Gene Frankel Theater, but the Village is extremely contemporary. And I want all the kids that I'm friends with, I'm like, you got to go see this.
Yeah. No,
It's
totally.
it's an entertaining show.
It is. I mean, and that was my goal. Like, I try to do the kind of show that I want to see.
Oh,
Right?
I like that.
That's
Right?
great.
And if you
So-
can't do it, who can, right?
Right. Well, or if I wouldn't want to see it, why would I do it and make other people go? Like,
Right.
I don't want to see the show that's 2 hours long. I don't even want to see a show that's an hour and a half long. I want to see a show an hour long, funny, smart, silly, sexy, and that's
And never,
that.
and it
So,
didn't stop. It never
Yeah.
stopped.
I mean,
no, you're
so,
right.
I try to do I try not to make audiences sit through what I wouldn't want to sit through. So,
Well, I wish a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah,
There's
right.
things that you go to
know.
and you're looking at your watch
oh my God.
and it's
Leave
like,
them wanting more. I don't know why people
I
don't.
agree. I agree.
you know what?
People ruin a good show by you're like, oh my God, that was great. And then they're like,
Only 4 more songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but this is something we can talk about. How do you keep you're concerned about entertaining your audience, right? And what's going to work. And you can tell in your piece, it's tweaked. You can tell you worked it out, right?
Yeah, you got to kill your darlings. Like you may think like, oh my God, I can't lose that piece. It's like, yes, you can. You can lose that bit. You can lose that song.
But
yes, you can.
How do you? I think a lot of people.
But that is not easy.
Right.
It's about having.
Thank you.
No, it's about having a good director.
Yes.
Trusting them, not feeling like everything is so precious. You go
right.
What I did with both, like my director Adrian Truscott, who originally
She's
directed
amazing,
David's Friend, and then Adam, who's directing it now and who directed The Village. You just go here. And my work is done. Now it's yours. And anything that, doesn't speak or resonate or isn't funny, let's get rid of it.
But obviously you are able as a person to park that. I've worked with people because of their ego. And then you're stuck there for 2 hours in the theater and you're like, why the hell didn't it end 45 minutes ago? Right.
Yeah.
So that's a credit that you can do that. Obviously, I know Adrian is amazing. Adam's work, his hand is on The Village. How did you meet Adam, and how did you know he was the one?
Well,
it's like a marriage.
I know. No, he's amazing, and my choreographer Robin is
amazing.
And Adam was working with Kevin Maloney, just kind of as an assistant.
Right.
And so he was stage managing for us for Unitard, and I was just like, he's so smart and so cool. And he went to NYU. And I was just like, I'm doing this show. It was The Village. And I was like, could you direct it? And he hadn't directed any theater before.
Wow.
He'd done film. But I just had this feeling. And I mean, he blows me out of the water.
Amazing.
Like not only just the technical side, and both Candid Camera and David's Friend are extremely technical. So he did all the technical stuff, but also just the way he works with the actors, what he brings out of them, because I don't do auditions. I just kind of go, will you be in my show? Will you be in my show? Will you be in my show? So I have dancers who've never acted. I have singers who've never danced.
I mean, that.
But he managed to just bring in this gentle, kind way.
Wow.
That, everyone loved working with him, but yet creative. And then Robin was, she worked with my friend John Cantwell, who was in the Nellie Olsons, which was my group before Unitard, and they were roommates. And she choreographed a lot of his stuff. He became Love Connie. He's on Drag Race a lot now.
I love it.
And I just knew that we shared a sensibility. So when I said I want to do this disco musical, I wanted to have lots of dance numbers, she was like, I'm in. And so it was the same with her. I just gave her the script and said, put dance numbers wherever you want, whatever music. I know we share the same sensibility. So the two of them just brought it. I feel like I didn't do anything. I just went here and they brought it.
Well, but I just also want to clarify that when you say you just gave it to them, you wrote these.
Right. I wrote
you are
them.
the writer that actually conceived these ideas and wrote these ideas down, which is
but
incredible.
They wouldn't be anything
and then you hand it to
them.
Right.
They're the ones who
but
made
again,
it.
Like Wendy said, for you to have the courage to pass it on to someone and just let them envision your vision.
That's very hard
really
for a lot of
something.
people
Absolutely.
to do. And obviously, I have to give this to you, whether you want to take it or not, because you're so humble. You have amazing instincts because you're giving it to the right people.
Right. Well, it's about finding the right
right.
people.
And the same way you're casting your actors. Your actors are great.
Yeah.
And the fact you don't audition, you just know, and you're like, hey, would you? Right. I completely believe in that. I feel part of the reason your show is so fresh is because you work that way. We see a lot of things where they freaking beat it to fucking death. Pardon my French. Yours is just so fresh. And this is like what, your third run? You did 2 at Dixon Place.
We did 3 at Dixon Place.
3 at your fourth run to be able and opening night. People were just as you heard, the laughter never stopped, and the show was just so tight. Every time you thought you were going to get a breath, there was another incredible razor sharp one-liner. The writing on your part is incredible. Thank you. We need to laugh. With everything that's going on in the world, we need to laugh. So,
definitely.
That's your give back. You're not getting a passport to another place. You're putting shows out. Thank you.
So now you're not from New York. You moved here in 79?
Yes.
From where?
From Boston.
Oh, from Boston.
Or Cambridge. Yeah.
Cambridge.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So tell, what was your life like in Boston?
Well,
before you
I was
came
a
to New York?
teenager. I was in high school, so I just wanted to move to New York. So
And
that was
but
like,
did you always did you get your comedy chops from your parents, your father, or your mother, or
I don't,
or
the Carol Burnett show. I mean,
Yes,
Oh my God,
yes.
we all feel that way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Carol Burnett was
so
brilliant.
my
You grew
best
up-
friend and I just like we watched Carol Burnett, and then we'd
That's
reenact
brilliant.
the sketches for my parents.
we did too.
Amazing.
So yeah,
I love the influence that Carol Burnett had on everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah. So many
But
people
the
we
joy,
talked to.
that she brought, it was
Yeah.
contagious. You know, you want to pass that on. You want to recreate these things.
right.
So that was kind of where you found
Yeah.
your acting and
Yeah.
comedy.
And then I came here and I went to college, and then afterwards, I did theater in high school, and I was like, oh, I guess, I do theater.
right.
And I took like an acting class, like, this like Meisner technique.
Oh,
On a tree and
Well, no, it's more like listening.
Okay.
Girl, I couldn't even. I love hearing you say that. I couldn't do that, and I really tried.
Yeah.
I took a couple of classes at HB, which were okay because I liked the people teaching them. They were great actors, but the whole technique thing, and Tim, I don't know how much you've done with that. It just has never resonated with
Right.
me. I just had this discussion with Icavelli. If you're instinctive and you have a kind of personality, it's very hard to morph into the other thing because you're going to be you no matter what.
Well, acting is a lot of empathy.
Empathy, right?
You have to be able to understand this character and present them.
Yeah. I mean, I think I get it now, but
Right.
Right.
But then it was, like going on auditions. I went on 2 auditions. I was like, oh, I hate this. I
Oh.
guess I don't want to act.
Yeah,
So,
I hear you.
yeah.
God,
So
I feel that way now.
So when you moved to New York, you moved by yourself?
Yeah, I moved to go to college here.
Oh,
You
and
went to
was
Barnard, right?
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Now, is
school.
that where you met some of your friends to create comedy?
No,
or no.
no.
Was it in the clubs? How did you meet some of these people?
I wish I'd done more of the. I mean, I went out to clubs, but it was more to just dance and stuff. I wish I'd done like when I'm with my friends who were like at Pyramid. I'm like, why was I? I don't know why I wasn't doing. I was a little intimidated by everyone seemed so cool back then.
Right,
And,
right. Everybody was so original.
yeah.
And
Yeah, it was an
And,
amazing
so it
time in
wasn't
New York.
till I joined this comedy group called Planet Q in the late 80s. And that's when, it was a gay comedy group. It was pretty awful. But I met this guy in it, and we shared the same sensibility. So we're like, oh, so then we left and formed the Nellie Olsons. But that was when I first was like, oh, right. Oh, yeah. Getting back to this is what I like to do, writing and performing my own stuff.
Yeah, because it's very
Right.
easy to get distracted and start down a completely different path. And then, so I'm so glad that you rediscovered your passion.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, was that Unitard?
That was
After-
the Nellie
Nellie
Olsons.
Nellie
yeah,
Olsons, and
yeah.
And then that was like in the 90s,
Right.
and then Unitard.
And then
Yeah.
Unitard after
Yeah.
that. How
Tell
did
us
you?
about Unitard.
Yeah, you're David Ilku, who I love.
Yeah,
he's
he's
hilarious. And who was the other?
Mike Albo.
Right, Mike. And how did the three of you meet?
Well, we were doing the Nellies, and then the two guys in the Nellies, John and Terrence, were living in LA. So most of our gigs were in LA, and we had a gig at this place called Highways, which is kind of the PS 122 of Los Angeles, where we'd performed a bunch of times. But both Terrence and John were like, oh, we don't feel like doing it. And I was like, I'd started writing more character monologues. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to keep the gig and I want to do monologues. And then I'd seen that Mike Albo was doing monologues. So I asked him if he wanted to come out and do this gig with me where we'd do trade-off monologues. So he came out and we did that together. And then I was back in New York and doing, I think, another show. I decided to do another show with monologues, and Mike couldn't do it. So I was like, oh, my friend David does a lot of monologues. So I asked him if he'd do it with me. And then the three of us started. And then once the three of us started working together, we started turning it more into sketches and
From the
stuff
monologues,
together.
right?
Yeah. So
right.
we still do a lot of monologues, but then it would also be sketches.
But you all had the
But
same
that's great.
comedic sensibility. That's
Exactly.
like, you
That's
had
what
to-
you have to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, but that's a great combination, having
Yeah.
the monologues along with sketches, and
Yeah.
that it makes it a nice variety show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And everyone agree, like we all like have the same stuff that we want to make fun
Yeah.
of. So
I think that's the thing we all share in common. We like working with people that have a similar sensibility,
Yeah.
because it makes it fun. For me, it has to be fun. If it's not fun,
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
even want to be there.
So what
Right.
type of comedy
Yeah.
was it? Was it you know how there sometimes you tell a story and
Oh, well,
or
it's
is it
character, mostly character, social satire.
okay?
Yeah.
Like, can you give us an example? Like maybe a woman that you played? Or
Oh, like, I'll be that annoying woman who you're behind in line at the muffin store.
yeah.
And she's like,
yes.
what's in the blueberry walnut banana muffin?
Maybe blueberries and walnuts and
right,
bananas.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Or the person at
Oh,
the
that's
gelato
great.
place that wants to have a taste of 5 different
Right.
gelatos. You want to
Yeah.
freaking strangle
Yeah.
them.
Right.
You
So
absolutely
so it's
want
kind of
to.
almost observational. Like you
Yes,
you
yeah.
see these people and can.
Yeah.
So do you people watch a lot?
Do what?
People
Yeah, you
watch.
would
I
have
love.
to people
Yeah.
watch.
Totally.
When I saw
Yeah.
Unitard perform, and it was at Joe's Pub,
Yeah.
you guys did a lot of really funny political stuff.
Yeah.
I can't even remember it all, but it was just
Like
very
Trump's hemorrhoids.
right.
or-
But it was it's lighthearted but very spot on, and I
Uh-huh.
think that is a great way to reach.
Well, you have to
people.
like find sort of an original way to,
Thank you.
Yes.
to do what everyone's saying, but
Yeah.
who cares if you just say it? You have to find a way to
Right.
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 make
To-
it funny and different.
for
So,
it's going to be
Oh, and
your
especially
own way.
especially in this climate now, with everybody gets offended,
right,
so easily
Right.
about if you say too much or
right. Well,
or
that's
pre-
interesting. If you like having done comedy for 30 plus
Right.
years, like you look back and
Right.
stuff the Nellies were doing in the 90s. I'm like,
Right.
oh my
You're
god,
like, political
I couldn't
incorrectness.
never. But I also like that you do we'll find a way to make fun
Mhm.
of pronouns, but without making fun of
Right.
in a way that
Right.
no one's going to say, cancel us. Like
right.
it-
Right.
It's important.
like I like I like that things have changed and
same here.
but finding a way to there's still humor, but you can
Yeah, it's within boundary lines and
Yeah.
staying within
like
those
you, but
boundary
you can
lines,
do that.
but go to
Yeah.
the edge.
Right.
Absolutely,
right, but you can do it, but as long as you keep them laughing at the end
Right,
of it,
and that they
Uh-huh.
know that you're
Right.
on their side.
you're
Exactly.
on their side. And it's
Absolutely.
also a really good way to reach people, like the pronoun thing, that people that I don't understand these pronouns things, blah blah blah. A really good way to reach them if you can comedically coming up with something that way. Good way to get someone's
Mhm.
mindset changed at
Right.
the end of the day, which is what comedy's about. We use our art to affect everything out there.
Right.
Mhm.
So you, I want to just go back a little, not to talk about the past. I do want to talk about Boy Bar and that whole time. You came to New York and you started going to Boy Bar.
Well, Boy Bar was a few years later.
Was a
but
few
yeah,
years
yeah.
later.
That
So
was in 79. I
Crisco
don't.
Disco, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I can't
I
believe
know I would write like I'll read my journal. I'll be like, oh, I was at Crisco. Can't picture it. Don't remember.
Right.
It, But I guess I
Did
was
you do
there,
like the
so.
Saint and just
I did do- I
I
Danceteria?
did the
and
same
Yeah,
to
all of them.
Danceteria.
wasn't that an amazing time in
It
New
was
York City?
Really incredible.
It and just so unified. Everybody of all races and colors and sexual orientations and everything. We all
It was
just
just
gathered
fun,
together
right.
to have fun, to
Right.
enjoy
and to
ourselves.
dance. I mean, I love to
Absolutely.
dance.
Same.
So that was really what I went out for.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Absolute same. I can't believe
I'm so glad
I,
we got to experience. it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't believe my path never crossed with yours. Although, I was
Right,
at
same here.
Studio 54 every Thursday and every Sunday and then of
Dancing
course
on the
tunnel.
speakers.
I did. I fell off of a speaker
Oh.
one time,
Mhm.
and my hearing is completely damaged from dancing on the
Oh,
Oh
speaker.
my
sure.
goodness.
I have permanent ringing in both ears, and then I got a parrot on top of it that screams in my ears. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
like, I know I'm suffering, but it's not about me. But dancing on the speakers was everything. Look at the clubs that we had, and look at the time that we were
Yeah.
in, and it was
Yeah.
really, really quite amazing. I think something that resonates about you with me. We did a night called Reading for Filth. That was the first time I ever heard your journal.
Mhm.
It was so funny. It just,
Oh, I don't remember what the
yeah, it
theme
was one of the
that night.
right. I think I forgot where we were. We weren't at Bedlam, or maybe
I
we
think
were.
it was at Bedlam, but I don't
or
remember
Club
what the
Comedy.
theme was of that.
I don't.
night.
But it was just
Was
everyone.
it your birthday?
No, that
No?
was a whole other
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, but every one of her things ended. Came home and passed out. It was something like,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
like that. And it was like, oh my god, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Right.
What an incredible time. You have kids. My daughter is nothing like me, and our kids are not that far apart in age. Are your kids like you at all?
No, but I mean they're amazing.
They're amazing, right?
Yeah.
My daughter's amazing, but this whole sensibility of going out and partying,
It's
dancing
not
for the
the
sake
same.
No,
of right. They came up in a completely different time, and their sensibility is for the time that they're in. It's funny because a lot of people say these kids, they don't know what they missed.
Right.
What we had, they don't know what they miss, and I tell people they don't care because they have what they have.
Right.
And
well, they have nothing to compare it to.
Right. I mean, they sort of know, but I always try to be like, oh no, it's fine. They're like, no, it was, they know there was more going on.
Right.
More out there instead of just being on the computer and
right.
like texting.
So
and
now
stuff.
with your children, how did that come about? Like, well, I mean, I know how it came about. But
Well, I don't know. I didn't plan to have kids, but then I was just like, oh, okay, I'll have kids. And, so
mine was just a logical decision. Like as I got to be 39, I'm like, maybe, and my decision, I had gone through the AIDS thing as you did. It really messed me up. Till this day, it's a huge part of me as it is of you. And my retaliation for all the friends that I said goodbye to or visited in St. Vincent's, I had my daughter there. It was kind of like the thing coming full circle and me fighting back, to everyone that had lost. I wanted to bring life back there. But for me, it was a logical decision. Amongst all of our friends, I'm still the only one with a kid.
Wow.
I don't know about you, but in my circle,
no, I didn't have many.
Right. I was like the only one with a kid who grew up, as I'm sure yours did, amongst the gay world, the drag world, and the trans world largely,
Well, I'm just interested in, because raising a child is not easy. Raising two children in New York City is a whole other level. So can you just tell us a little bit about that? Or
Well, I was actually in the first 10 years, 9 years, we were in Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
But I actually would have preferred New York. I think.
Oh my God! I
very
think
lonely.
well, hold on. I think that's great. I would have loved that. Well, how wonderful
What?
that you were in Hawaii 10 years. You didn't not.
Wasn't my choice.
It's not your.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we still had a house in Hawaii now.
Right.
I wish I had a house in Hawaii.
But I mean, to be there, I miss New York. I was very homesick.
Right.
So.
You're in New York.
Once New York gets in your veins, it's hard
always
to. It's always there.
I'm not someone who's like, oh, I'm so sick
But
of New York.
wow, I mean, just the thought of that too. That's quite a change, going to Hawaii and living there day in and day out.
I know.
And
I
that
didn't
would be,
mean to. It just my
How
husband was there, and he wasn't my husband then, but the father of my boyfriend, and he loved it, and he still loves it. Now he's back in the city, and he's miserable, and he hates it. But so once I had the kids, it was just like tiny apartment here or live there, and it just sort of, I never meant it to happen. I still don't know how it happened, but
it's real. I mean, I admire
amazing.
you for that, because that is an amazing part of your journey.
Yeah. Though, I mean, I don't, it's idyllic on paper, but I don't, think it was necessary. I think, if we had Hawaii now, it would be amazing for them, but I don't think then it was better or worse one way or the other. Because
At that age, right?
Yeah, and also I didn't have friends there. So, and
that's what I was going to
and
say.
I'm very anti-private school. So all the, the Howleys, the white people sent their kids to private school there. They were hippie private schools, but they're still private schools. But I'm like, I don't do private school. So we went to public school, and it's, it's the locals, and they're perfectly nice, but they don't, socialize. They stay in their ohana with their family.
Yeah.
So, the kids didn't really have friends. I didn't have friends.
I see, yeah.
It was kind of like,
What was it like moving back to New York after 10 years?
fabulous.
It was like, and the kids.
And the kids, how did they?
They were,
Because they kind of go from nothing, not real close friends or a lot of activities, to New York City, which is constantly moving and people everywhere.
Kids are adaptable.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they are.
They've got, parents who love them, and
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
they're fine.
Right. And a supportive environment. That is really interesting to me. I'm just put myself in your position, and I just assumed you had been here I've been here for fucking ever.
Right.
Because I can't get out of New York. I can go to LA. I could work there. I can work, but I'm people are like, oh, don't you ever plan on leaving New York, especially now? No.
Right.
No, where am I going to go where anyone is going to understand me? And, the amount of friends and lives that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the one thing from your show, your audience, they love you. They love you. They love the show and they love you. And, you can take that show all around the country and people will love it.
Right.
But they won't know you. The people here love you, and I think that's important.
I don't know about that, but
oh, come on, Nora.
but I don't know. You've been such a staple in like the downtown creative artistic scene, and I don't know. I've just always Nora Burns, the name, and just recently we've started crossing paths a little bit more, which I like.
Yeah.
But I've always heard your name and attached with the downtown crowd and.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's a scale 1 to 10, I'm maybe 3, but they're like steady 3.
So you're finishing this run August 10th.
Yeah.
And are you taking some time off or?
Yeah, I think we'll do a unitard show in Fire Island, and then I think in October I might bring my Candid Camera show back for a couple days at the Frankel Theater. So.
Okay, well, tell us about Candid Camera.
Well, in the early 90s, like 92 to 96, I did this cable show on Gay Cable Network, which wasn't really a network. It was Lou Maletta's gay sex club that doubled as his TV studio.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, Lou was a friend. So I was just like, oh, I want to do, some crazy little show at your studio, and everything was free back then. So he was like, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And,
I love that. I miss that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We
all
did
DIY.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just had this idea that it would be like me hosting as Candy. But I host as Candy, and there was a different theme every week. And then I'd have like go-go boys and go-go girls and drag queens and comedy sketches and guests. And so it's really, I mean, I would do it, and then, they would bring it to Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and it would be on at like 3 a.m. on a Thursday or something. I don't know. I never watched it. And then I thought it was long gone, but I ran into Ann Northrup, who did Gay USA with Lou. Lou died about 15 years ago. And anyway, so she told me, she was like, NYU Fails Library has Lou's archives. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they have my show. And they only have Lou's archives because he was out there with the camera filming all the time parades and act up things and, all this, amazing stuff in his assless chaps and stuff. So anyway, so I wrote to the Fails Library, and they actually did have a bunch of the episodes, not all of them, but I think if I did 50, they maybe had 30. So
nice.
So anyway, so they digitized them for me and gave them to me.
Oh,
so
sweet.
When I was doing a show at La Mama in February, they asked me if I wanted to do a show at the club, because David's Friend had been the last show at the club before they closed to renovate. So they just reopened the club. And so I was like, well, I wonder if there's a way to do a show with that old cable show, which is really awful. I mean, the cable show is like, unwatchable.
But it's probably funny.
But I was like, well, maybe there's a way to make it usable. So I asked Adam, who's, brilliant. And so we kind of put together this whole like idea of, it's kind of the comeback meets Spinal Tap. And it's like me as, talking about this amazing show I did. And so we have this mockumentary and then
and
actual footage.
The footage and all that.
So, and then I have I have these two 65-year-old go-go boys who were supposedly original.
Yeah, I love it.
Up their loincloths.
I love it.
And then some original guests like David Ilku, and some people come back and we'll show clips of them. And then,
oh my God, that's great! So, how creative!
It's incredibly creative, but as we're talking, I think what is really hitting me. you create these products and you're able to sustain them through, like Tim and I always say this to him, it's freaking exhausting. We're constantly creating, recreating, recasting, redoing, blah, 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 blah. It is exhausting. And you're able to take your products and just package them. And I hate using that word, but you are able, they're a product, and put them out there, and they work and they're funny.
Well,
That's
you never know. But
you never know, but that is a gift to be able to do that. And even having to get the thing up is tiring. But sometimes I say to Tim, we're going in so many directions half the time that we'll start out the show to talk about what we did. And Tim looks at me and says, what did I do this last week?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't even remember his. I have to write mine down because it was so many things. And you have a definite focus to what you do. And there's something I'm learning and getting from you here, which is really, really great. I talk to a lot of people. We interview a lot of people. I find a lot of people all over the place. Certainly what are they doing in New York? They're doing a million things. They say yes to everything. You're specific.
But I think you should say yes to
everything. You know what? I used to think that yes and no. I just had to say no to something because it was 1-2 readings too many. And after I can't constantly have my time. I try and structure my time to make money, time to reach out to a client, time to do this, time to do that. So I'm learning, and we've had this discussion, Tim. You can't say yes to everything. I don't,
I say yes to as much as I can.
As you can, right. And then I have to remember.
I'm not in my 20s anymore.
I wish I got asked to do enough that I could say no, but I don't.
Yes.
But I look at the stuff you're creating. Do you have any plans on doing a book on down the road or anything like that?
Not really.
Does that float your boat? Because
no.
you're a writer.
Yeah, it just seems like so much work. I so admire anyone who can write a book, but I just don't.
It's a lot of work.
Something I could do.
Right.
Well, one thing that I want to touch on is the LGBT community.
Yeah.
Because you have always been an ally. You've always been a part of it.
Right.
Can you just talk about what was the appeal, or how did you?
It's just that I met I say in David's Friend that, my mother met this woman in the delivery room who was giving birth the same day as me, and her son is gay. So I have been a fag hag since then. But
that is funny, from the day you were born.
Then I had a gay friend in high school, and then more gay friends in high school. And then it was just it was immediately like, oh, this is my tribe. I'm home. And, it's just without question, like, that's where I feel home. Right.
So. Well, just I think the LGBT community, the openness, the acceptance, we're accepting of everybody, and exactly. And we're fun.
It's the fun, and in my case, they always had my back, always, and a lot of the times the straight community didn't, and I can honestly say that the gay community 150% has been there for me since I was 13 years old. That's when it started for me, not in the delivery room. I was in C-section, so I don't know. Yeah. Right. But they've always been there for me. And it's my comfort zone. I don't feel comfortable walking into a straight bar. First of all, any of the guys that are going to talk to me this has just been my history. They don't get me at all, even a little bit. They don't get my sense of humor even. And I constantly find myself having to do cocktail party conversation, which I don't like doing. I'm not good at that. In the gay community, it's like you can just freaking let it fly, right? The passion and and it's freaking interesting, damn it. People are really interesting. They're doing really, really cool stuff. So
and again, as a people watcher, enjoying watching people, the LGBT community is a universe all its own for people and their life experiences and what they've been through. And it's just very colorful.
Exactly. And you just feel like, you relate to.
Except I didn't get bears until recently. I didn't really understand the bear community.
I don't think there were bears until recently.
Yeah. Well, okay. So when do we think bears came up, in the last 10 years? What do you think, Tim? When did you start?
I think that's
I mean, there were always bears.
Right.
There were going to what's that river in Northern California. Is it Russian River? Where,
it's a bear community,
like back in the 80s.
Oh,
stuff, But I think really as like an identity, the last 20 years.
The last 20 years, the bears have,
it was
otters and
right.
I was just going to say that because it used to be when I first came out in Indiana in the 70s, we always had every bar. Firstly, they were all underground.
Mm-hmm.
They could not be
public.
They could not be public.
Yeah, of course.
And there was always like all the gays that were just happy to be among other gay people.
Right.
And it was mostly gay, but then you'd always have one or two drag queens
that
were there on the side, and they would have to do a show that day. Every time, every
the drag
night.
show.
Yeah, they'd always have to put on a show, and there was always a couple of lesbians over here, and we all partied together. We were all like a family unit, and then it just seemed to all start shattering into, you got your twinks over here, and then you got your bears over there, and you got your leather over here. Like people, they just started. Which I think is common in society, any society. As the bigger
society
it gets,
grows, as the group grows,
more specific they're looking for, like you say, their tribe within that tribe. And I miss those days where we were all just together. We didn't care. And
but sometimes you'll go to like a small town gay bar.
And you see,
like, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you totally see that. I'm curious, Tim, because you travel around the country doing 50 Shades of Gay. I would think it would be more like that in the places that you play. And
in some cities.
You go to Iowa and places like like that. Says the girl who can't leave New York. You go to places like that.
Well, but I think between the internet and like RuPaul's Drag Race, like shows that are going into homes around the country, that a lot of times they've adapted to and become very similar to each other. They take ideas that they see on TV or on the internet and start including them in their shows as well. So a lot of times they're very similar. Across the country.
And it's sad like people have stopped going to gay bars. Right. Stop because you can hook up without going out.
Exactly. So, it's easier just like ordering a pizza or something where you just like online, like go to Grindr. Okay, I'm looking for a guy this tall and with dark hair.
Don't hate me for this. I remember when it started in New York with the big cup. You remember over in Chelsea? These boys, they would bring their computer, and I would go there with my friends just to hang, and they'd bring their computers to the big cup. I'm like, why the hell are they on their computers? And because they could start to hook up with people. To me, the big cup was the downfall of New York. I know anyone who's listening is going to jump all over me for that. I don't mean it in a bad way, but you could see that's when things were changing. And then we went from that into Grindr and Scruff and all the hookup sites and everything. And
go ahead.
No, I wasn't.
Because from my observation of my experience, it used to be back in the day, the Tunnel, Limelight, like all of these, the Saint, all of that. You'd have to run home from work, maybe take a disco nap, change, then you go out. You don't even leave till like 11 o'clock at night, and go to whatever, but you had to dress. You had to get dressed. You had to put on some cologne. You go down to this club, sometimes hoping you get picked to get in, and once you're in, then you got to pose. You're trying to find somebody that you find attractive, and hopefully you have to go through all of this with and dance on the dance floor and all of this, and hopefully find someone that you can go home and have sex with.
Okay.
So you had to go through all of that.
It was a lot. It was a lot of steps. Now it's easier.
And now again on Grindr, it's like ordering a pizza online. And they come knocking on your door, and it's there. You don't even have to get dressed. So it's that I think it has affected the nightlife. Is the easy accessibility, Tinder, all of that. So.
Because that's what gets men out of the house.
Yes, right.
I remember when the first show we did in Columbus, Ohio in the early 90s. And it was just so great. And we there was the Eagle there, but we performed at some like gay drag.
Like we're driving, right?
And then, everyone went to this diner late at night, and it was like there were leather queens and drag queens and gay boys and lesbians. It was just like everyone was sort of, out. Everyone was out. So.
Well, that's what I miss is community. I miss and again, so many of the younger don't they have no point of reference to that, to community.
Right. Well,
But
there
they-
aren't dance clubs,
Right.
too,
Right,
you know,
right.
like people
Right.
don't dance. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. I
That's,
just don't
that's
get
what
that.
I was going to ask you. I go out to Brooklyn when I want to dance. I go to the mega clubs, and they're huge, right? They're
Right.
like big warehouses,
Yeah.
and I don't
I
feel
don't
the
think-
same
Yeah, I don't
that
think
I
could do
used
that.
to. Like at the tunnel, the Roxy, I loved.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved the Roxy was amazing, but I'm in this big space. I'm with all these people all around. I just don't feel the same way, and I think it's got to do with the fact that you can never go home again. That
Right,
though
right.
that dancing during the times that we did it was one thing, and now it's a
Yeah.
whole
But
other,
what
right?
about the younger kids that are out at these clubs now?
They love it.
So okay,
Yeah.
well, good. It's
It's
good for them.
it's their it's their
It's their
time,
time,
and
right?
right, and the sense of
Yeah.
community that we're all talking about. They have their sense of community.
Mhm.
There's just a big gap from what we knew as community and what they know as community. You know, at the end of the day, what do I tell people? We're all in this together,
Right.
and we got to
Mhm.
remember that.
Yeah.
As we get towards the election, I will
Well-
just say that
Yeah.
without getting political.
Yeah.
And with everything that's been coming down the pike lately, it's just, we have to remember we are a community, and we are all blessed to be here in New York. My God,
Mhm.
this is such a creative mecca. From the time you came here, Nora, like to now, I always do like I go through the Rolodex in my mind and think about the people that I met. How many people that came here with the dream, as I called it, have been able to accomplish it that you know?
I don't know.
That
mean,
you
because I don't
stay
know
in
what
touch
people's
with.
dreams were.
Mhm.
You know,
So,
okay, so you never had those conversations
No,
with people
yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think we all just seemed like we just wanted to be here.
You just wanted to be,
I
you
don't
just
know.
wanted to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and we were all trying to survive and
Yeah.
doing what we had to do, but yet we still had time to go out and enjoy ourselves
Right.
and experiment in life, and that was so fun.
Exactly.
I'm so grateful that we got to experience that part of New York
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
exactly.
that time.
But
It's funny because I was talking to my daughter this morning. She was saying how all her friends are now watching Sex and the City, like the old
Oh,
ones.
okay.
God.
And they're having this nostalgia for them.
Wow.
It's
Right.
a time of the past when she's like, and people were just like able to hang out, and they didn't have
Right.
cell phones all the
Right.
time, and you could afford to live here, and you're like,
Right.
wow, even the late 90s, early 2000s are nostalgic for kids.
That's
Right,
really
now.
right.
So
Well, one of the problems is economically, it's so difficult
crazy.
for these younger kids
Yeah.
to have a place to live, to feed themselves, it's too much. It's too
Yeah.
much. So they have to work kind of around the clock. They really don't have time for
yeah.
No,
for,
that's a
for
really-
enjoyment.
that's
like
a good
we used to
point.
And
have.
even just going to like a bar or a restaurant with friends, that's
It's
$75
$75
eating.
Right.
I mean, I will say, like, we were in London, and my daughter and I, and she has some friends there and her cousin and stuff, and so she was going out with her friends, and she was like, God, it is like socializing is nicer in places where there's just
Right,
like the corner
right.
bar and everyone
Yeah.
just hangs out, and
Mhm.
you don't go broke doing it.
It was
Right.
it was
I was in-
easier there for her because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
costs less, and people just went to
They
bars.
just,
And
and,
Yeah,
and
I-
they're all people aren't all on their phones either.
Right,
They're much
right.
more engaged. and-
Yeah, I was in Paris earlier in the year and felt that as well.
yeah.
There's
were
just
meeting
a
all
lot
those
of people
really nice
engaging
people,
and
right.
yeah.
right, which brings us to why is everyone like this? I mean, people walk down the street like this here.
hmm
What is it about here that you're not experiencing in the UK or in Paris?
Well,
It's
again,
America.
I just think
God, that's
I think that it's again. It used to be kind of at a slower pace, the economy,
Right.
and it's just picked up and picked up and picked up and picked up to where it's just it's almost like if you put your phone down for 10 minutes, you're missing something.
Right.
And
well,
so
not
there-
just the economy, it's a technology,
Right.
to your point, that
Mhm.
if an app for this, an app for that, I'm downtown, I don't know where I'm going. I always get lost like around the Rivington Street area, and I'm on my phone asking Siri how to get me there. And even when she tells me, I still can't get there. But we're engaged in our phones because we're like told that we have to be. It's really a crutch. I'm surprised though that in the UK it's not like that, you know, because I thought they were so similar to us.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
But she liked it.
Yeah, I found the European mentality a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe that's why everybody's going to Portugal and places like that.
Yeah.
But now if I ask your kids, would they tell me, like, you seem to me like you would be like the coolest mom ever?
Oh, yeah. No, well, I mean, I think what's most important is that I'm a nice mom. So I don't, you know, I'm lucky that I just have a temperament that I don't get angry and I don't get impatient. And, you know, my mother was that way with me. I mean, was nice with me. So I was able to pass
That's great that
along.
you were able to pass that along.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was their dad with them?
Great.
Yeah. So they've got two parents that, you know, that listen and are cool. That are totally cool with them.
So,
and then, and again, you don't like Hawaii.
He doesn't like
you
New York.
Right.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Yeah. That would be difficult. That would be tough. Yeah.
So you just have to find compromise, and which we
right.
don't, because we don't talk. We don't fight, but we also don't talk. So
well, you got to find what works for you.
Right, exactly. I find I have to get out of the city, not every weekend, but some weekends.
It's nice to get
in the summer, especially in the winter. I have that seasonal affective disorder. I function well in the city. I don't function well out of the city.
Right.
I feel like the parade has passed me by, and I'm new in a new age range. That's exactly what winter makes me feel like out of the city. So, you know, it's interesting how we relate to other places in our own lives. Well,
now as an entertainer, I'm in awe of you. You have these two shows running at the same time. And
well, we'll see if anyone comes to them. So
absolutely. So tell us a little bit about each show and what it is.
What you can tell us without giving away.
Well, there's I mean, the Village is like a disco musical that's kind of loosely based on our town, and it's got a cast of 10 actors and dancers, and it's very lively. And I did it at Dixon Place, and we just kept doing, you know, these short runs, but they'd sell out. So we'd be like, okay, we'll bring it back. And so, you know, I keep sort of bringing it back till people don't come. I mean, I would love, we have people come like 4 and 5 times. I know there's a new audience that I would love to reach. I don't know how to do that. I'm not a producer. I wish, you know, I wish someone else were doing
when
that
it comes
part
to
of
promotion and stuff. That's my least favorite.
No,
I don't know how to do it. I'm not
right. That's not what you do.
Yeah.
But in the way that you're able to attract the right people, we're putting that out into the universe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that you attract that person that says, "Hey, Nora, you know what? We figured this out. We can
where are they
target maybe on your next run. You just never know."
That was the Village,
and then David's Friend was a show I did about my best friend that I just kind of like started developing in like 2016, and it really just started because I'd lost my best friend in 1993, David. and then just kind of, went on because we all just went on. We lost all our friends, and we just kept going on. We were young and whatever, busy. And then I just, I posted a picture of him on Facebook for his birthday, and all of a sudden I just like lost it. I was like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? Right. And so I was like, okay, I just need to do something about him. And so it started off just this little tiny, kind of like me just talking about him upstairs at Dixon Place for like 10 friends and showing some pictures. And then I was like, no, I need to do more. But, I didn't want it to be a memorial. I wanted it to be a show.
A story.
And,
it's a story.
So then, I did it bigger at Dixon Place, and then La Mama commissioned it. And so I toured it around while I was workshopping it and developing it. And I did it like in Toronto and LA and all these weird places, just to be like, I don't want it to just be for New Yorkers. I don't want it to just be for my generation. I don't want it to be for, I want it to be something that anyone could relate to or be entertained by, be interested in. So that's sort of where we got, and then it opened at La Mama, and it got like a really good review in the Times. So it kind of we extended, but then La Mama was closing for construction, so we closed it. And I kind of put it away and thought, oh, I'll never do it again. But then I right before the pandemic, actually, some friends in LA said they wanted to film it, and we raised some money to film it.
I remember that.
So that was the show I did at the Frankel.
Right, but you did the Palm Springs Film Festival.
Right, but I did the show at the Frankel,
just
like so I could just like almost as a dress rehearsal, and we brought it out there, and it was March 2020. And so we filmed it literally like a minute before everything shut down.
Goodness.
And then my friends edited it, and it was during the pandemic, so it just kind of played.
Oh, that's
it
great.
played some gay film festivals, but they were all virtual back then.
Yeah.
But Palm Springs was both virtual and live that year.
We did it. They did it outside. Like
that's a great film festival.
Yeah, Palm Springs
to be at. Yeah.
So, and then it did Provincetown and stuff, and that was another live film festival the following year. But then anyway, so I didn't know if I'd ever do it live again. But then when I thought, okay, I'm bringing the Village back, it would be interesting to do it with this solo show.
Right.
So,
and
so I have a new person in it. Was my friend Billy, but he's up in P-Town.
Right. I remember Billy was in the one I saw.
I have Ricky Roman, he's a porn star, but he's fabulous. He's so good.
Here we go. I don't know if there we go. Yeah. Ricky Roman over there. And we have the Village on one side and David's Friend on the other. Yeah. Wow.
Well, two incredible shows.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's the Villages on Wednesday and Friday, and David's Friend is Thursday and Saturday.
Nice.
So it's a little hard. People are a little bit confused. Like, why you're doing them both in one night?
No, but that's what's smart. I love that you have them both on one.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but it's still a little bit, it's a bit much for people to figure out when it is. People don't like to, they're like,
But do you like? My thing as a performer is like, on one night you go in with the mindset of one show, and then the next night you go in with a completely different mindset for another.
Right.
That's a lot.
Well, the Village is very easy.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. That's kind of the
my vacation
relief.
Show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And her character really is on vacation in this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first time I ever saw you do that character, I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious.
It's an old unit,
but it's still hilariously funny. Your whole body language and everything in it is perfect.
It's
Tim, you're gonna have a great time.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it tonight.
Yay.
So Nora, my God, this has been so great. I mean, the middle of everything. Please, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
so
having
grateful
me.
that you took some time.
What you're doing.
Thank you.
Your handles, which we had up here. Could we see how people can?
NoraBurns.net.
Yeah, my incredibly outdated website, but I would say more come to my Instagram is where I started my Instagram.
Your photos
while
great.
I was doing David's Friend, and I had all these archival photos up, so I was like,
nice.
oh, okay, I'll put them on Instagram. So that became sort of about that.
But, and that's Nora Burns NYC on Instagram.
Right.
But you can also go to the Village_play on Instagram as well.
Some of the cast started
No, that's great though. That's one more thing where people can go. And I'm thinking, with the cast, because you have a range of ages in the cast. Yeah. You were talking about finding new audiences. What about like the cast getting it out there? Because everyone's got friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily David's friends. They're right. They're friends of the Village, and them getting it out. There's a whole scene, as you all know, in Brooklyn that's completely different from here. My daughter's in Gowanus and and when I go to things out there, I'm like, who are all these people?
I know.
There's a ton of them.
I know.
They're audience members. They're really great.
Yeah.
So that you want to tap into that.
Exactly. I know. I wish I knew how.
No. Actually, you opened last week, wasn't it?
We opened Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
Yes, and Wednesday.
It was so much
fun.
fun.
Because I saw Michael Musto was there. Brenda Vaccaro was there. Yeah. It looks like you had Joey Arias. Yes. What a wonderful turnout. Congratulations.
It was great. It was packed, and then we all went to the bar after.
And then you had the second night you had another opening.
Yes, we did two
openings.
That is
so cool.
I know.
Because you can never have too many openings.
Exactly. I felt so good to have them both open. I was like, oh, thank God. So,
but that's what I mean. That's a lot. That's a lot to have two shows.
Right.
Now it's just about getting people to come.
Yes, exactly. So everybody,
come on.
If you're watching, please come. Again, Wednesday and Friday.
And that's
Village.
at Soho Playhouse.
Thursday and Saturday.
Yes.
David's Friend at the Soho Playhouse. Oh, and you know what? You know how we're all like complaining about getting to places? It's too hard to do this. The train goes right to the Soho Playhouse.
And it's so much cheaper than O'Mary. I
Yeah.
I mean, it's $35.
No, it's a lot of bang for your buck.
$60 if you buy tickets for both shows. I mean,
Right.
Oh, that's
can't
good.
go wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Price wise, it's great. You can get to it easy. And there's lots of places to eat around there as well. We can't say enough about it here on If These Walls Could Talk. Come see the Village and David's Friend, and you get to meet Nora Burns. What could be better?
And we
She's
absolutely adore Nora
she's the
Burns.
busiest girl in town. Thank you so much, Nora.
Thank you, Nora. We appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.